All right, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to start on lesson 8, which is about the pen tool and paths. Now, paths differ from drawing pixels or using like the paintbrush because a path is mathematical and there's actually no pixels associated with it. So it's a vector object. And vectors differ from bitmap images. And I want you guys to know about that and to read about that in lesson 8. So that's the first little paragraph in lesson 8. Make sure you read that, the difference between bitmap images and vector graphics. Basically, a bitmap image is something that has to do with pixels, and a vector graphic is something that has to do with mathematical equations. The next thing I want you to make sure to read is on the 4th page into your lesson is creating paths with the pen tool. Now, this will tell you all about how to create different types of paths with the pen tool. And today I'm going to walk you through a little bit how to create these paths with the pen tool. But go ahead and read that. It's a really important introduction to everything that Adobe software does. So if you use Illustrator or if you want to be a graphic designer, you will know and love the pen tool. And this is a great introduction to the pen tool. So go ahead and read that. I will say as a caveat, we don't have a project associated with this lesson. This is normally one of the harder chapters in the book when I teach this class during a normal semester. And the project associated with this lesson is also one of the harder projects associated with this class throughout the semester. So I didn't give you that project because we can't meet one-on-one and I can't give you one-on-one instruction. But you still have to do the lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit how to use the pen tool here. What I want you to do is go find the pen tool. The pen tool is located over here in your tool sidebar, about 3/4 of the way down, or maybe 2/3 of the way down. The pen tool, if you hit the letter P, it'll bring up pen tool. Nestled under the pen tool is the freeform pen tool, the add anchor point tool, the delete anchor point tool, and the convert point tool. Just to let you know. The freeform pen tool you can draw like freely, like you would with your hand, on a piece of paper with a pencil. Now the pen tool creates what's called points or anchor points, and what we're going to do today is learn how to use it a little bit. So I'm going to start here on this first line segment, and the first thing you want to do is set up your options bar like it has it in the book, where we'll actually be able to see our paths as we draw them. So in the Tools panel, select your pen tool. Choose Shape from the Tool Mode pop-up menu. So that's here. We'll choose Shape. In the Pen Options menu, make sure the rubber band is not selected. So down here, make sure this is not selected. Make sure the Auto Add Delete is selected, which it is. I made a point there, so I'll get rid of that. Choose No Color from the Fill. So we don't want it to have a fill, but we do want it to have a stroke. A stroke is like an outline, a fill is like the inside. So you can imagine the stroke being like a blank coloring book and the fill being the color as you color in a coloring book. So we want the stroke to be some sort of green, and I just picked a random green down here. We want the point to be 4, so 4 points wide, and then we want to align the points to the center here in our options bar. So once we have that all set up and ready to go, we can begin making points and paths. So the first thing I want to do is click on point A and go over to point B and click on that. As you can see, I now have a path with a stroke of 4 points in screen. And I can control this size of the stroke here, and I can make it bigger or smaller. So this is the kind of the beauty of the pen tool is you can control the size of your path, you control the color of your path, etc., etc., and you can copy it and make it, and it's a vector object, so it's infinitely scalable, whereas pixels are not. So now that I've made this path from A to B, I want to go over to my path panel and notice that there's a shape 1 shape path. That's this one right here. Now if I were to come down here and start to draw a new path out, it would overwrite this shape 1 and it would be lost forever. So what I want to do is save this. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to call this line path, and now that's saved as a path. It has its own shape. So now I'm going to start over here and start to draw again. A. So here we start to have a curvilinear effect with our path. So what you want to do with the pen tool, when you want to make a curve, is you click, hold the mouse down, hold the mouse button down, and drag out. And you see how this creates a nice curvilinear line. It alters it from both sides. As you can see, I can skew it more towards point A or point B. as I drag this. These what are called handles. So I'm going to drag and hold to point to this blue dot. I'm going to go to point C, click, hold, and drag to the blue dot, and then just click on the red D dot. And now I have a half circle. And again, I can go in my path and save this line path if I wanted to and call this path circle. Or I'll just call it half circle. All right. You don't have to do that every time, but if you want to save that path, it's a good idea to do that. So now, I come over here, and I'm going to draw this kind of curvilinear shape. Looks like a squiggly S. I'm going to click on A, click on B, hold and drag to the blue dot. Click on C, hold and drag to the blue dot. And I'm going to keep on doing this until we end up at the end. And now I want to hit return or enter, because if I start to go over here and draw this, it's going to connect the two together, and I don't want that to happen. So I want to hit enter, and there I have my path saved. I can go in here and save my path again if I want, or it'll probably start on this next shape. So I'm going to go A, B, and this is a more complex shape with some linear and curvilinear elements. And it's actually going to be a closed shape, where these are open paths. They have an open terminals, they have open end and open beginning and open end. This will be a closed path, so I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E, click on F, hold and drag to the blue dot, click on G, hold and drag to the blue dot, click on H, and then click on A. And as you see, when I click on A, it has a little circle next to the pen tool icon telling me this is going to close off this shape. So this will be its own shape versus an open path. And as I do that, I now have this wonderful closed shape. And I can go in here and I can give it a fill of any color I want. So you can change the color of this shape I've now created. So that's kind of how you use the pen tool. And I'm going to do something really quick over in 08start.psd. And I kind of did something in here, so I'm going to just revert this to the beginning. And I'm going to go ahead and go through this shape real quick and show you how I make this. I'm going to take away the stroke. I don't want a stroke. But what I want to do here is we're going to create a coffee cup shape. And we're going to be able to save this shape and use it over and over again. To do that, though, I'm going to have to go around the outside first and then go around the inside and cut out the handles portion. So to do that, there's these different modes, and what you need to do is make sure you go to subtract front shape. So what this is going to do is going to make a shape, and it's going to subtract out this little handle space when we go in there and draw a closed shape path in there. So what you want to do first is go click on A, click on B, hold and drag, and I'm pretty used to doing this, so it's really quick for me. It might be a little slower learning curve for you, but don't worry about it, you'll get it. And click on F and drag, G and drag. Oops. If you ever mess up, you can hit delete and go back a point. You have to make sure to continue that same path. G, I, J and drag, K and drag, L and drag, M and back to A. Now, I want my, get rid of the shape handle. Oops, I want my shape still. The outside cup handle, and I want the inside cup, and it tells me where to go here. So I'm going to go A, click and drag to, I'm going to click on A, go to B and drag, go to C and drag, go to D and drag, go to E and drag, and I'm going to click back on A to close off this path and sort of subtract this inner handle from the path shape I made before. So once you have that done, you want to go to the layer panel or your path panel, click on that and call this coffee cup shape. I called it shale. We'll just call it that. That's fine. So now once we have this path selected, oops, let me get this back here. This path coffee cup shape selected. I can just rename it to shape if I want to and not call it shale. I can go up here to edit. I'll go to edit, define custom shape, and as I click on that, there's my shape now. It looks like a coffee cup, and I'll call this coffee cup shape. And now I have this shape saved, and I can use it over and over again across different compositions as long as I stay on the same Photoshop computer. So to use this shape, I'm going to go to my layer. I'm going to delete these two inside handle and outside handle cup layers because I don't need them anymore. We've used them. We don't need them. And they just kind of clutter up our layer panel. So delete those, and we'll take off our shape one. We don't need to see that anymore. So now we'll go down to our custom shape tool, which is under the rectangle tool, which is below the pen tool. And we can come in here and define a fill. Let's call this, we'll make a pink cup. And we can draw out our cup. Hold down shift to keep it proportional. And then there it is. We have our pink shape that we've created. At any point, I can either duplicate this to create another copy. I can transform it by using my Command T option. I can transform the shape. I can rotate the shape. I can do all types of things with the shape. So this is going to get you about halfway through the lesson, and I want you guys to complete this lesson. But this is a kind of a quick and dirty introduction to the pen tool.